All right, well, in just 4 days, rookies in the NFL will begin reporting for duty. It is time to get back to work with training camps on the horizon. Life in the league going to come at you fast here. We'll see who handles it best. For that, we bring in the guys who have been following these rookies from their college days and beyond. Wilson and Mike Renner joining us here. Of course, they are always ready for the NFL season. This one's for both of you, and Ryan, I'll start with you. Three of the most high-profile players going into the draft: Travis Hunter, Abdul, and Ashton Jeanty, of course. Which one to you is going to have an instant impact on their team?
I mean, Mike on one side, Italy Mike on the other. I must be living right, so let's get going on this thing. It has to be Ashton Jeanty, right? That feels like the easy answer because if you go back the last 10 years, the NFL rookie leading rushing getter, if you will, averaged about 1,200 yards. And that feels about the sweet spot for what we can see from Ashton Jeanty, in part because they don't have much in the way of a running game. The running game was absolutely terrible a year ago. They have Chip Kelly as the OC, obviously upgraded the quarterback situation with Geno Smith. They have some young, potentially exciting wide receivers that they drafted. Offensive line should be pretty good, and I think the offense is going to run in large part through Ashton Jeanty to make everybody's life easier. We've seen it in recent years with Bijan. We saw it last year with Bucky Irving, which was sort of a surprise in terms of rookie rushing leader in Tampa Bay. So I think the easy answer for me, especially given what Jeanty did for Boise State and carrying that offense and that team as far as they did in the playoffs, I think he's the guy going forward in year one among the players we're talking about here.
Yeah, I'm in 100% agreement there with you, Ryan. And I'll add one more sort of element to it, is that Chip Kelly is your OC. I mean, Chip Kelly had the best receiving core in college football last year and still ran one of the run-heaviest offenses in college football. Like, they are going to run the rock there out in Las Vegas. And I think this offensive line is much improved. Now, I think Travis Hunter, Abdul, fantastic prospects. They'll be great themselves. But what Ashton Jeanty did last year was truly special. I mean, he broke PFF's single-season broken tackles record by like 40. I mean, the guy just could not be taken down on first contact. So that, to me, is going to translate very quickly out the gate to the NFL.
Ryan, let's keep this running back room talking here. And let's talk about guys not named Jeanty. The Browns took Quinton Junkkins in the second round. The Nick Chubb era over there in Cleveland. Do you think, though, he can have first-round impact?
Yeah, absolutely. And full disclosure, Mike was higher on Quinton than I was, but he went to the top of the second round. Nick Chubb was a former second-round pick, and that offense went through Nick Chubb when he was there. And I think one of the things it's easy to forget when you're talking about the Browns, Kevin Stefanski is a fantastic coach, number one. He's also very good at having an efficient run game to help the rest of his offense. Going back to 2020, the Browns have been third in the NFL in average rushing yards per game at 140. Last year they were terrible, but in large part, that was trying to fit that offense around Deshaun Watson. When he was out there, he got hurt, and then everything went sideways from there. But this team has twice won 11 games with Kevin Stefanski. 2 years ago, went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco at quarterback. And I think with Quinton there, they also drafted Dylan Sampson a few rounds later out of Tennessee. Those are going to be the guys to help be the engine, if you will, for that offense as they figure out the quarterback situation. We know Flacco's there and Kenny Pickett. They drafted two guys in the third and fifth round. But I think Quinton has an opportunity to fill into Nick Chubb's shoes. And if you get 75 to 80% of Nick Chubb, that's an absolute home run of a pick in the second round.
I'm glad you threw out Dylan Sampson there as well, because I think both those guys have a great chance to make an instant impact. One, because that running back room is just barren. I mean, Jerome Ford isn't scaring me from either of those other two guys leapfrogging him on the depth chart and getting more time. And two, because just the quarterback position there. I mean, they're going to have to be run heavy if it's a rookie starter in Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, or even if it's a 40-year-old Joe Flacco or a journeyman now in Kenny Pickett. So I think for all those reasons, both those running backs were very good prospects that just, you know, Quinton could have gone first round if there weren't guys, the two first rounds that went ahead of him, Namarion Hampton and Ashton Jeanty in this class.
Mike, you have another second-round running back that you liked, R.J. Harvey, with the Broncos. Why should fans maybe pay attention? He may not get the same pub and headlines as some of these other guys who were the first three running backs that were taken ahead of him, but why should we watch R.J. Harvey?
One, because I think he has the best offensive line of any of these rookie running backs that he's going into. This Denver Broncos offensive line was outstanding a season ago. They just had one of the worst running back rooms in the NFL. I mean, Javonte Williams just didn't have the juice to break off any big runs. You watch R.J. Harvey and you see that 4.4 speed, and you know he has the juice to do it. He's a former quarterback. He came into college as a quarterback, and he's also old for a rookie running back. He is 24 years old already. This guy is kind of a vet stepping into that room. And with very little competition there in that room, he's going to get a ton of touches, ton of carries, over 1,500 yards or almost 30,000 yards over the past 2 seasons. All those reasons, yeah, I think R.J. Harvey's going to have a big rookie season.
Ryan, let's stay in that division. Whenever the Chiefs draft a wide receiver, I think fans around the NFL get a little nervous. It's like, what do they see that someone else didn't? So did they find another big play guy in Jaylen Royals?
I think so, and I love Jaylen Royals last fall. He got hurt towards the end of last season, so he didn't finish the year for Utah State. But he's 6 feet, over 200 pounds, ran a 4.42, which I think surprised some folks. And you could say the depth chart in Kansas City is pretty deep at wide receiver. They have Rasheed Rice, of course, Hollywood Brown. They drafted a wide receiver last year in Xavier Worthy. But as we know, it feels like that unit gets more banged up than other units around the league. And sometimes rookies, Xavier Worthy last year, for example, have to step up. And Jaylen Royals is off to a fantastic start, as much as you can be in the shorts and t-shirts portion of the summer workouts. But Andy Reid's spoken glowingly of him. He's flashed at minicamp and OTAs, and that's the direction you want to be in going towards training camp. But I think he's going to have an opportunity, should someone get banged up, to go out there and make some plays in much the same way Xavier Worthy was expected to do that a year ago as the season progressed, and he got better. He also has some kick return ability, so he has that versatility as well. So I was happy to see him get drafted to the Chiefs, because I think that's, as you sort of point out, Mike, an opportunity for immediate success with Patrick Mahomes throwing into football.
I think when they drafted Worthy a year ago, everyone just rolled their eyes. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know, you go from Tyreek Hill to this, and that's why I think people get nervous. All right, Mike, let's talk about the Texans. They took Jayden Higgins in round 2. Could he end up being a week 1 starter there for Houston? They've had some changes at wide receiver.
I think he should be. He's experienced, a 4-year starter between Eastern Kentucky, Iowa State, and I love the opportunity for him to succeed. 1, because who's throwing him the football in C.J. Stroud, and 2, because you have a number 1 receiver there already, in Nico Collins, who either commands safety over the top or he commands your best and biggest corner, which I think is the bigger thing here, is that you have to, if you're going matchups as a defensive coordinator, you got to put a guy who's pretty big on a 6'4" wide receiver like Nico Collins. Well, oh, by the way, Jayden Higgins is also 6'4" and 220, so not a lot of teams have 2 corners that really can go size for size with guys like Higgins and Collins. So if he's up against a smaller corner, that's a mismatch every time with his ball skills and catch radius.
Ryan, let's talk about some defensive backs now. When the Ravens picked Malachi Starks, Jordan was like, of course they did. That felt like a fit. How good of a fit do you think that will be there in Baltimore?
It feels unfair, much the same way we're talking about all these wide receivers going to Kansas City, because that secondary is absolutely stacked. Zach Orr's done a fantastic job as a defensive coordinator after Mike McDonald moved on to be the Seattle head coach. And Malachi Starks was one of my favorite players coming into this draft. I think Mike felt the same way. Has 10.55 track speed in the 100 coming out of high school, and he's one of the smartest players on the field. Kirby Smart absolutely loved him in the secondary for a Georgia defense that was stacked top to bottom. So now you're going to line him up next to Kyle Hamilton. They drafted Nate Wiggins in the first round a year ago. They drafted T.J. Tampa, a long cornerback out of Iowa State last year, who's going to come into his own. And, oh, by the way, you have Marlon Humphrey out there. And the fact that Malachi slipped as far as he did wasn't a function of him not being good. It was a function of a lot of other needs being pushed up ahead of him, whether it's quarterback, wide receiver, what have you. And I think the issue here, it feels a little bit like Derwin James when he got underdrafted, and Kyle Hamilton similarly, and the results are going to speak for themselves, and we'll probably talk in 3 or 4 years about how he should have been a top 10 pick. But forget about the offense of Baltimore, which is already lights out. This defense has very few holes, and they're going to be fun to watch. And I think Malachi is going to be playing a lot as a rookie.
Yeah, it feels like there's very few misses from teams who draft Georgia players that high on the defensive side of the ball. Sticking with defense, Mike, Broncos drafted Jahdae Barrett. I love this pick because I love the idea of pairing him next to Pat Surtain II. Is there like a no-fly zone now developing in Denver with this pick?
Oh, 100%. There already was last year. This was the best pass defense in the NFL. A year ago, you add another corner to it. And what I love about this pick is that he is a veteran. 2,617 career snaps. He is day one ready. And he'll be playing in the slot where no one's going to try to pass on this team. You know, people are going to try to run. And what I love about Barron is he is one of the most active run defenders at corner in this draft class. So his biggest impact may be knifing into the backfield and taking down running backs in the running game, where he's fantastic at doing just that. So Jahdae Barron kind of rounds out what should be the best defense in the NFL.
Ryan Wilson, Mike Renner, thank you. Ryan, you already look like you're ready for the Super Bowl with the Super Bowl patch, so go ahead, start getting ready for that. Appreciate you guys' insights. As, of course, rookies will start reporting next week to certain teams. Now, it's never too early to start thinking about the draft. That's why those guys are here, and that's why we direct you to the With the First Pick podcast. Use that QR code on your screen and give it a listen.